That being known, we do have a great group of people that have signed up in support of this legislation. And I just want to make sure that I acknowledge that we have students that are here to testify in this bill. And with the permission of everyone here, I like to go to the students first, as I am like not only very excited to welcome you to the Senate, but also I think that your voice is the most important when it comes to legislation like this one. So at this time, I think I have the names correctly, and if I am not calling you, please let me know and make sure that you come up first. So I have Kenya Hernandez from Davies and Central Falls in support. I'm gonna call you three at a time. Leon Moreira from Davies and also resides in Providence in support. And I also have Clarissa Pires from Davies and resides in Pawtucket in support. So please come on up and welcome to the Senate Education Committee. I'm going to start by welcoming Kenya, and please make sure that you have the red button up and so we can hear you. So welcome to the Senate Education Committee.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, committee members. As you know, my name is Kenya Hernandez. I am a senior at William M. Davies Career Tech School on the health track. I'm here to provide a testimony on a universal free and reduced lunch put forward by Senator Lawson. I'm here representing not only the students at Davies, but the students across Rhode Island. Sorry. I'm here for the bill because it's true for many students, it's the only place they can get a full meal. I experienced this myself when I was homeless last year, and knowing that I can get a breakfast and lunch for free at school was one less thing I had to worry about. Sorry. At the beginning of the school year when we had to pay again, it was a struggle for me and my mother because we both were struggling with paying bills and all that stuff because we're hopping from place to place, and we just simply couldn't afford it, and my grades went down because I couldn't eat a day. And my mom, she would send us to school hoping for us to at least get a decent meal, but then again I couldn't afford the meal, so we couldn't eat, so it made me skip out on lunch, and I couldn't now. Sorry. And when I was eligible for free lunch, I had to share with other people because they couldn't afford lunch, and they would come up to me and beg if hey, are you eating lunch today? Because if not, can I have some? And I know there's many other students just like me who are going through a struggle, who are too afraid to speak and go hungry for days. School should be a place where students shouldn't have to ask themselves, can I afford to eat today? If we can give free education, we can give universal meals to all and help us get our focus back on learning. Thank you for your time.
Kenya, thank you for your testimony and for being so courageous and brave to come in front of us to share your personal story. First, I wanted to say that you are being the voice of all of those students that came up to you and say, can I have a lunch? Can you share with me? So thank you for doing that as well. And how you doing?
So far, me and my mom are getting back up there, but we're still struggling every day. It's getting close.
I'm glad to hear. What grade are you in again?
12th grade.
12th grade. And how old are you?
18.
18. And you've been having to struggle throughout the time.
Yeah, it's like last year when I was 17 years old.
Well, thank you so much for your courage. Any other questions or comments, Senator McKinney?
I also want to thank you for coming in. My daughter, Mrs. Wally, is a teacher over at Davies, and so I've heard that from her. And it's time that we take this kind of action to make sure that folks are fed and able to learn. So thank you again for your bravery in coming in and testifying.
Any other questions or comments? Senator Quesada.
I just wanted to make a comment. Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say thank you to you two for coming and be so brave and tell us about your story.
Any other questions or comments at this time? Davinon, thank you so much, Kenya. And we're going to welcome Leon Moreira from Davis and resides in Providence. Welcome to the Senate Education Committee.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Leon Moreira. I'm a senior at Davies Tech Lincoln, Rhode Island. I'm here to give testimony on Senator Lawson's Universal Free Lunch Bill. I'm representing my community at Davies and some, fellow Rhode Island students. I am for this bill. Students all over the state deserve equal opportunities to meals free of charge, and meals that we need to function on a school day should not be profited off of for state funding. No student should have to go without a meal because they simply can't afford it, or sometimes they just rather save their money to where it matters the most. Even if you have to go starving on a school day after, say, 8 hours of work, because a lot of our students at our school specifically, we are a tech school, we do work study, work-based learning, we go out to school. Sometimes we go to school in the morning before, we come back sometimes after lunch, we might not even eat at work. So it would be better if everyone had an equal opportunity to be able to eat during school. Watching fellow classmates eat their free meal while you have to pay for your own it just feels really bad sometimes, because it's like, oh, well, my parents only make this much, so they're saying I have to pay. And it's funny because a lot of our parents either can't pay for our schooling, they can't pay for supplies or food, they expect that, the school would provide that. They're giving me this education for free, but no tools to work with that education. I'm not gonna remember a day's worth of learning if all I've been thinking about is, God, I'm so hungry, oh my God, I feel like I'm gonna faint. Some kids have health issues and they need to eat, and some just can't because they have to pay for it. As a senior, I work 40 hours a week, every week. That's a lot of work. I'm a CNA, it's a lot of work. Sometimes I eat at work if I can, sometimes I don't, and the next day I have run off of 3 to 4 hours of sleep because I get home around midnight. I work 3 to 11s, and when you go to school the next day, oh, I'm gonna eat something good for lunch. Oh, well, I already owe them $50, so I might as well skip it. Every time I decide that I'm gonna eat, I have to pay in full. My parents, they don't give me any money to pay for it. They can't. They have a lot of other things that they have to pay for, like bills. I don't come from a family with money or anything like that. I come from 2 immigration parents. I am going to be not first gen, but second gen, sort of. My dad did get a degree from UMass Dartmouth for sports, so he's not that smart. Sometimes when I run off a day of no food, I struggle with paying attention in my classes and I lose a lot of motivation. And students shouldn't just be the face of their parents in schools. You're there for your own education. Your parents didn't just drop you off and tell you, well, good luck. No, you're doing this on your own. They're not holding your hands. So I should be able to get some free, lunch. It doesn't really teach you that whatever you get in life, you're always going to get for free. If anything, it's just, a little help push forward, because you're coming from 8 hours of work. You already know how the real world works. We pay for every meal we eat outside when we go out with our friends and everything. And we're always talking about being broke. Well, some of us really can't afford to eat.
Thank you, Leon, for your testimony.
Yeah, thank you.
I really want to make sure that you know that this committee really appreciates you guys not only being so open with the reality of things, but being able to be so brave and share what's happening at home, right? I am very impressed with you saying to this committee that you work 40 hours a week and you have little sleep, and on top of that, sometimes you have nothing to eat. That's concerning, right? Impressive that you do all of that, but it's concerning because how are you taking care of others when you're not taking care of your own health, right? So that is concerning. I just want to make sure that you do know that we hear you, we see you, and we appreciate your testimony today. Any questions or comments? Senator Palmer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Leon, thank you for being here. You might want to redact that comment about your dad, but that's okay. They might be able to take that off the tape. Just tell your dad not to watch it. Any education is a good education.
Good. Any other questions or comments for Leon? Senator Quesada.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say thank you for coming and thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you, Leon. And now we're going to welcome Clarissa Pires from Davies and is a resident of Pawtucket. Clarissa, welcome to the Senate Education Committee.
Thank you, Chairwoman, and thank you for the committee. My name is Clarissa Pires, and I'm a senior in the health careers track at Davies Career and Technical High School in Lincoln. I also am a resident of Pawtucket. I'm here on behalf of all students of Rhode Island, and I support this bill. I think it's important to consider the financial burden that school lunches place on families. We know that when a student does not receive an adequate meal for breakfast or lunch, they go into survival mode, making them not pay attention in class as they're focused on hunger. Students get irritable, moody, and sluggish because they don't have the proper energy to focus and participate in class. This leads to poor academic performance. This does damage to both the physical and mental health of the student. Nearly 1 in 3 Rhode Island households can't afford an adequate meal. So students rely on school to give them the healthy, nutritious meals they need. 41% of food insecurity in Rhode Island is higher for households with at least one child under 18. This shows that students are the ones suffering from having to pay for their food. Providing free universal meals can help ensure students have access to the nutritious meals they need to succeed in school. When students have access to healthy and nutritious meals, they are more likely to develop healthy eating habits. I have seen the impacts of students skipping meals at Davies. Students would have high bills, so they would skip out on a crucial necessity that they need. I was once this student before, and this situation would just leave me shameful and eerie, because I simply couldn't afford to pay for the necessity that I needed to survive for the day. Not being able to pay for lunch led me to creating unhealthy eating habits at home, as I got an eating disorder because I would skip out on lunch at home because I was used to skipping out on lunch at school. Not eating for almost 8 hours at a time decreased my performance in my classes, and I wasn't really doing the best. So we should be providing students with necessities that they need so they can live up to their full potential. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Clarissa, for your testimony today. Again, I think that I'm going to sound redundant, but I think it's important to address each one of you and say how brave you are and courageous you are to share your story, but also I do believe that you all bring your own unique perspective of why it's needed. And Clarissa just brought great data for us about food insecurity and also healthy eating habits and also your personal challenge, right? So I really appreciate you being so such a leader and speaking for all of the Rhode Island students that really deserve to have free meals. So thank you. Any other questions or comments at this time? Senator the mic.
Thank you all for your testimony. I couldn't do mine without crying, so I commend you all.
That's great. Any other questions or comments? That being known, I really want to say thank you to all of you, and let's hope that we have good results with your stories. Is what makes us really put the data and the policy real to what is happening. So thank you so much. Next, I want to make sure that I acknowledge, do I have any other students that want to testify? Do you want to testify? No?
No.
Thank you. You're in support? Anybody else wants to testify? There's a student? No. Okay. I'm going back to the list, just making sure that everybody was heard.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you.
Go back. The next 3 people up are